So I'll take that as a yes.
I had a hard day.
All right. Well, I would say just as expected. I think even last week it was Arik and I talked about on chat a few times that there's a high chance we're going to be hitting this 40 to 30 range, and they came back and they hit that July. At this point, it was a VPOC. Now it's no longer a VPOC just because we tested it. So now it's really massive, right? I mean, if they're able to get over this level, I would say there's a high chance that they're most likely going to go and test the extreme here of July, which would be somewhere around 708. That would be our July value area. As you guys see, I removed pretty much all the levels, just kind of reassess what's going on. And in terms of bracket, this is a 4-month bracket now, and this would be your first sig on the top, which is pretty much at all-time highs, right? So that's why I didn't mark it. And on the bottom, you guys are able to see that on the like somewhere around 53.28 is the other sig. So you can definitely mark that. I'm just not going to clutter the child, right? Oh, not clutter the child, not the chart. Not going to clutter the chart with all this. No, it's just because we are pretty far from it, and I'm looking to see what happens in a day or two. Today, what I did note that is there's a poor high setup. Do you guys know the difference? Remember we talked about overcrowded poor highs and a clear poor high and low. Do you guys think what is this today?
Or high.
Yeah, what kind? Is it overcrowded?
No.
No.
It's clear.
Yeah, clear rejection.
Okay. So if it's a clear rejection and a poor high, what could that indicate? Consider the directional performance measures that we talk about, right?
It'll probably
Guys know
go
what I'm
and
talking about.
test the.
If the volume is, let's say, if it looks like what it looks like here, right? The volume is way below the 20-day average right here. And if you're facilitating, which way is the market been going up for, I guess, past 9 days now? It's been trying to go up, right? If the market's going up and the volume is kind of fading away, what does that tell you about facilitation of the trade to the upside?
It's slowing down for sure. Probably retest the opposite extreme.
Yeah, it's slowing down. That tells you the market auction is not really. We don't have a lot of participants inside of it right now, right? So I'll be very cautious as we're conducting business here for longs in this area, just because the fact that I can't get this to be at like 32. Close enough, I guess. Just keeps pissing me off. So it's really been going higher on no volume, which indicates that there's, when you have higher volume, price going up, that checks off. But when you're going higher and the volume is dying, that means that poor facilitation is going to happen. And most likely there's a trap incoming at a key level. Well, think about what would be a key level than a July VPOC. Right? I mean, that's a prior month VPOC, and that's the last node we have here when you look at volume profile that has any significance, right? If you're able to crack that, obviously over 46.5, I'm pretty certain we would go to 708 or so, and that'll be about 60 points run, which is nothing unusual for lately, what we've seen. So keep that in mind, because we're going to talk about on the daily what's happening here. In terms of weekly, right, we had I would say last week was a lot of poor structure. So if we are getting some exhaustion off of the July VPOC that we just hit, there's a high potential that they might come back and revisit this 55.30 here and make sure the buyers are still there, because you had a nice little candle here. The volume went up, but nothing significant relative to other candles and the bodies of these candles. Like this candle here and the volume on selling, pretty massive. And then you come back here to a massive supply that we had, which we sold off from there. And then you're basically breaking it with no volume, and the small candle here is trying to eat up all the supply. They eventually did that, right? On Thursday of the 15th, broke through it, and now we're above it. So pretty sure the retest of this would be actually structurally bullish. They would clean up some of this, and when you look at the weekly volume profile, why is it important that they hold 55.30?
Look like some single prints there.
Gap.
So in this sense, this would be one distribution. This would be the second distribution. If they can't hold this level, what does it tell you about acceptance inside this distribution?
Rejection.
Most likely a rejection, and most likely we're going to be looking for acceptance price somewhere below, which wouldn't be, too bad to go 54.42, which would be the opposite extreme of this value area high. So in terms of immediate levels, I'm going to keep an eye on this level right here, which would be the prior week value area high. I would keep that. And do you guys recall this level at all? 558685. Does anyone remember what that is? It was maybe a few months back.
That is the beginning of the meltdown.
So if you guys remember, this was our prior breakout. We made the high here, then we dipped, and this was the breakout level. And you see we went below, we rejected it, and now you have it. So if you're able to lose this level here, which would be about, call it 88 to 86 level, add 2 points to it, it could signify that there's a potential return, right? That we might fix these poor structures below. And the first target here would be this 55.32, which happens to be about 4-month POC now. Below that, I would say high odds once you lose 55.30, you're going necessarily to 43. This would be probably a good level to peel some off. You had some VPOCs here that we held and bounced, and this was also a massive, I would say, transactions came in to bring this lower. So this might act as a decent support on the way down. If it doesn't, then you know that there was a lot of BS buying by retail here, and they're being sold into the liquidity. And most likely, I would target 53.34 to be revisited fairly soon. And at that level also, I don't know if you guys recall this level right here at 31. This was the other prior high we had, which was the balance that we had here, right? So they held this, right? We just talked about this recently when we had this 3-month balance and we were looking the first SIG when it bounced off of this. I think it was 22 that we had or something, and they came back basically and recovered. So now we're trying to see, there's a clear, let me just go on this view so you guys can see it. There's a clear value here that was being set, right? If they're not able to hold this, well, look at the profile. You have a distribution on the top, and then look, you have a distribution on the bottom. So at least, you're probably going to go all the way here at 5,400 where the split starts, or you can maybe put 98, about 9 points range in the LVN here. That would be targeted, but most likely they're going to seek to see if they reject these prices, which perfectly almost aligns to that 54.30 here. They're going to be looking for lower prices. Okay, that's on the weekly. Does that make sense to most?
Yes.
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 Okay. And then looking further, right, going down into the daily transactions now. I'll keep this on for a moment. I just don't need candles. And you see here, if they're not able to hold this, what do you guys see just on the profiles alone? I'm just going to delete this. Just look at the profiles here. Look at the weekly profiles here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 profiles within the bottom distribution here. So if they reject this level, guys, 88, I think it's not a bad level to consider some puts, all the way down about 140 points all the way. So keep an eye on that. Zooming in, let's see, on the daily. All right, so what kind of drive did you guys have today?
I'm not sure, but I know it's D-shaped profile range basically.
Reject.
Okay, so I would say it was open reject reverse, right? Do you guys agree?
Yes.
So we went all
That's
the way
what it did.
open, we rejected, and then we have a little bit of access on the top, not a lot, but the B pretty much matched the A, and then we went to the downside, and then the C period broke the B period, which was pretty good, right? And then they continued, they tried to build value came back, and you see some other time frame players coming in. And where did they come in today? For the most part, there was a little bit of, the spike that we talked about. I posted in a Shorty corner. This was your spike here. And then the spike went all the way to the top. Now pay attention where a majority of the price action happened today.
Yeah, I noticed it was within that previous day single print zone.
Yeah, it was all within basically a lot of it spent within the spike zone. So when I said that I'm taking the long overnight, it was mainly just I want to see it clean up this. And if I'm able to catch some of these points, that's about, 20 something points on one contract that I'll be cleaning up. That was the reasoning behind it. Even though this right here, what could indicate this? When you have a massive A range and then a B period comes in very close, and let's say leaves a poor high, what would that mean to you guys in terms of price action? Just think about psychologically and confidence of the market.
Short cover rally.
Is it like a completed auction? Like it's finished auction, maybe?
I would call this basically a poor high right here. Because if you're in an uptrend, right? If you're in an uptrend and your A period is breaking the prior day high, right? And then the B period fails at the highs of the A period, what does that indicate about confidence? Remember the volume, the directional performance. What does that tell you?
You've ran into sellers and it's low confidence.
It might be that we can't find any more buyers, that there's no net new buyers. So what the market might have to do is auction lower, right? Get who excited then, and then see if they can short cover and fix it, right? So it might not be fixed tomorrow, but the idea is when you have something like this, I mean, you're obviously in a strong uptrend for, I think it was 8 days now. Let me check. It's gonna just show you guys what I'm talking about. So here's your uptrend so far, right? You're stacking value area highs, stacking. And now you got an overlap of the value areas with basically a poor high and a B-shaped profile in an uptrend. What does that typically indicate to you? I'm teaching you something that you guys can remember so you can recognize these patterns in the future.
Is that exhaustion? What is that?
That would be an exhaustion. In an uptrend, this is a clear sign of an exhaustion. Yeah, this is definitely a clear sign of an exhaustion. Do you guys remember when we talked about the profile shapes and volume profile shapes, and we discussed if you're going higher and you see a B-shaped profile coming at the top, be careful, there's a high chance of a reversal. Does anyone recall that?
Yes, because you want it to be a P shape to continue the uptrend.
That's correct. And now since a lot of you guys are quiet. Okay, there we go. There goes this one. I'm just going to bring it up for a little bit. Let's read the second bullet and just make sure you guys understand it. Like a P shape in an uptrend, B shape in a downtrend is a common often points to an area of consolidation before price continues with a trend. If we see a B shape during an uptrend, it may indicate a reversal as bulls leave the market. And now consider what level were we on when this happened in the market. It was a critical level, guys. It was a very big level of July VPOC. We came in and we put in a poor high, and then they liquidated shorter, right? So now if you think about this, if they're not able to, for me personally, let's say they're not able to hold this area tomorrow, what would this indicate to you?
They're gonna find new price lower in the lower distribution.
Yep. And then if you take a look at the prior day profile, let's say if you look at Monday's profile, which was pretty good. That's sarcasm. So you have obviously the spike here, right, that we had. Now, if you go down, right, there's a lot of poor structures in between, right? You have the K single prints, the J single prints. So most likely, you know, they're going to try to hold this area, and this area means a lot to them because this is today's value area, and this is the value area high of the prior day. So it's kind of matching there, and that's going to be important for them to hold. But I'm telling you, there's a high possibility that if they're to lose this zone right here, that they will come back here rather quickly. This would be the two levels that I would be watching in terms of price action. Between 88 and 80, I would watch to see if they're going to hold or bounce. Then if they're able to crack below this 88, what does that tell you?
Definitely gonna try for that red line below.
Well, I would say there's a high chance that they would do what? What is 55.30?
Bounce.
I would target this line here. If they can't hold 88, you're talking about 50 points drop here. If you will get with certainty, you'll get some sort of bounce here. How big is that bounce going to be? Who knows? But if we see that they're failing to make, let's say, higher highs, 5, 10, 15 minutes, they're most likely going to be targeting this one. And then ultimately, I would say this section right here would be the next goal. But this 88 is fairly important for, I would say, intermediate to long-term traders right now. For our daily traders, right, they look at the day-to-day, but also sometimes swing some puts that don't work out. Let's see. This is going to be our, I would say, fairly important level here that they hold or lose. Any bearish action needs to happen below this level here. And we would look to potentially short the market below this. And then ultimately, if they're able to crack, I would say 56.31, there's a high chance that they're going to go and potentially fix that poor high that we left right here. And it seems like so far it's going to go up. Why would tomorrow's settle price be important to you guys? Or would it be important?
To compare the direction, I guess, right, for the next day.
Let me ask you this. Tomorrow we open, let's say we open pretty wild. We open here at, let's say, 8:30, we're here. At 9 o'clock, we are here. What could you see happen in the market if the settle price is right here?
Like what happened today, we opened and closed in the same place.
They short to
Long
since we'll be
inventory.
net long.
There
and
would be a
cover.
high potential of a sweep of the inventory. It would trap a lot of people because this would be the poor high, previous day high. A lot of traders pay attention to the OHLC, open high, low close. So if this is the concept, they would be trapped here for the long. And if the close, the settle price was at 25, what would that mean to the inventory correction? Right off of the poor high, they're going to clean that up and come back and potentially even lower. I would watch for this setup really, really close tomorrow. This will be your entry right below it, and then look for candles and wicks and see if you can place a stop loss somewhere. And I would target, 25 or even the bottom of this little zone for a short cover. The market is slowing down. The auction that we've had for past 10 days is coming slowly to an end. Does everybody understand why I say that?
Volume.
Did I? Volume is
Volume.
one. The volume measures the directional performance, right? And remember, they can go forever like this, but at some point, and the market's giving you kind of indication now that we are slowing down, right? So if you look at this prior trend, the value areas, overlapped a little bit here, and then you pay attention where we open and close, right? It's a good habit to get in. So let's see on the right side. So if you look at this, for instance, you opened all the way on the bottom, and you're closing here at the top, and you opened right here, and you close right below it. And you're printing a B-shaped profile, right? With majority of the value being set, on the bottom of that profile as well. And you have a little bit of access here, but I don't believe access lows in a major uptrend that we've seen of 8 days with low volume. Because if this was really other time frame buyers, shouldn't the volume pop?
Yeah.
You would think so. So that's kind of what I'm watching tomorrow, guys. As any P shapes or B shapes, this value that we printed today is going to be fairly important for tomorrow. Look above and fails on the upside will be very interesting. Depending on where we open, ideally they give us a trap on the upside, and the net inventory being long overnight, and then we come back here, that'll be a pretty good 20 points, in my opinion. That's something I would watch. If we open within the value and we peak above value area high and fail, high possibility this 80% will play out. Why do I say that?
It's a tight range.
Because you're outside of the value, you dip below.
Yeah, you guys are
and
doing
go to
that.
the bottom.
So prior day value is 33 points. Today's value, what does it mean to have a narrow value? What does it tell you as a trader? What is the market telling you when there's tight value?
Not a lot of
Make a big
participation.
move whenever it breaks out.
No other time frame buyers.
No other time frame participants, right? No buyers or sellers. And a lot of the value we went above, and value was found on the bottom, which means that there's some liquidation happening and there's no more buyers here. Seems like the buyers are exhausted. So I would definitely, I would say, pay attention to this tomorrow. I'll be on live tomorrow as well. So one of my kids got fever, so he was held out of school today, and then the second one's getting ready for surgery. So it's kind of been a little bit hectic in my house. If you don't have kids, having 3 of them in the house is nothing. Yeah, it's fun, especially when they're sick. So I've been dealing with that for almost 3 days now.
They won't do surgery if he has fever,
I'll
though,
take it
right?
okay.
My 7-year-old has fever, not the 2-year-old.
Okay.
Yeah, but we
This
have to
next week.
separate him because he has surgery coming up. We can't get him to be sick. Yeah. The lead time is 8 weeks for surgery. So if we miss this appointment, we will have to wait 2 months.
Oh my god.
I hope all goes well.
Yeah, we're just, it's a little stressful, but we'll get better.
Have a good night. Thank you.
All right, guys.
You
See
sure?
you guys tomorrow. Bye.
Thanks, Shorty. Bye,
Thank you,
everybody.
Shorty.
Thanks, Shorty.
Thank you.